Now boys, as you know, scout rifles recently got a damage buff. A small buff, but a damage buff that made sure that these weapons would always 3 crit. Even max resilience guardians can be taken down in 3 critical shots. Now, if you used a 150 round per minute scout rifle this past season, whether it was in PvE or in PvP, you probably noticed that it just seemed a bit off. That was the first thing we noticed after the new sandbox went live, back when Forsaken launched. We noticed that 150s didn't feel right. Turns out, they've actually been bugged for the entirety of Season 4, resulting in the time to kill of these weapons being much slower than what they were intended to be. Now, I tested out a few scout rifles last night and yesterday. Jade Rabbit was obviously the first one on the menu, and Jade felt good. And I was well on my way to be making a Jade Rabbit video when I decided to just try Polaris Lance for one match. Guys, this is the best feeling 150 round per minute scout rifle for a number of reasons. It obviously has the stats to prove it, but even better than Jade Rabbit with the catalyst. So let's talk about it. First up, guys, let's go over these perks real quick if you don't know what Polaris Lance is. This is a scout rifle. I'll include in the description below how to get it, but it comes with the intrinsic perk, the Perfect Fifth. Precision hits return ammo to the magazine. Landing 4 precision hits loads a delayed solar explosive round for your next shot. You can actually see the solar explosion there. The trait on the weapon is Zen Moment. This of course is the perk that I really like on Jade Rabbit. It just allows for the weapon to be more stable as you cause damage. And we've always speculated that Zen Moment scales with those higher impact weapons, meaning the more damage that you actually cause in that one shot results in your weapon being more stable than say something like an SMG with Zen Moment. Now, Polaris Lance Catalyst is essentially Dragonfly. Precision kills create an elemental damage explosion. I haven't actually slowed things down to see if it's better, if it's worse, but obviously things here looks more geared for PvE, and don't get me wrong, I love it for PvE. 150s feel so much better in PvE. Having this elemental explosion as well to tack on some extra AoE damage, oh, it's nasty. And 150s have never felt better. But despite the perks here being more oriented towards PvE, I cannot discount the fact that this thing absolutely wrecks Guardians. Whether you are in Crucible or even in something like Gambit. I know Gambit is full of linear fusion rifles. This scout rifle though was just a tack driver with no damage fall off. Now let's talk about that damage buff and how it's doing in Crucible and what time to kill we're looking at. First up, it's now doing 68 per crit, meaning you're going to be doing 204 damage in 3 critical shots. Needless to say, you will not have a problem putting down any Guardian regardless of their resilience. Time to kill wise though, guys, at 150 rounds per minute at 3 crits, you're looking at an optimal time to kill of 0.8 seconds. Now I won't lie to you guys, there's pulse rifles, there's even hand cannons. They have better time to kill values than that. Where weapons like Polaris Lance shine though, is the ability to lock everything down at that 50-meter range. Despite how good pulse rifles may be, if you're thinking of like using a Bygones over this tack driver of a scout rifle will eat a Bygones in 2. Which takes me to my conclusion on 150 round per minute scouts. Guys, given the right map, the right setting, there is no weapon that dominates like this scout rifle. These 150s definitely have a place. The problem is there's only a handful of maps, if that many, that actually enable you to take advantage of these scout rifles. That's the biggest issue. Every one of the maps we have, a lot of people talk about how bad shotguns are. And believe me, I don't like shotguns either, but what would really scale shotgun usage back is bigger maps, larger maps, things like Widow's Court back in Destiny 1, and even some of our combined arm maps where it really spread the game out. But maps like that is where you're gonna see the most usage of these scout rifles, and even more usage in things like snipers. So overall, guys, 150 round per minute scout rifles, a definite improvement. Immediately, you'll notice that the weapon shoots way faster. If you used Jade Rabbit a bunch before Forsaken, it's right back to hitting and shooting the way that it was. And if you're on the hunt for a nasty 150 round per minute scout to be using, Polaris Lance, guys, again, it's the best feeling scout rifle I have used in Destiny right now. So guys, those are my thoughts on 150s. Again, a definite improvement, a very noticeable buff in its rate of fire, or fix that is, and the damage buff is just like a cherry on top. All we need is more maps that actually bring that playstyle out a little more. So hopefully Bungie will start kind of veering away from all these arcade style maps and grant us some of those. So fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.